Hey, everybody. Welcome into another Launchpad Reseller Podcast. My name is Bob. I'm the Rocket City Reseller. And if you've been selling for 20 minutes or 20 years, this is the one for you. We are your mission control for all things reselling. I do this thing with my good friend, Tennessee Treasures, Ellie. She's a homeschooling mama. When she's not schooling those babies, she's schooling us in everything toys. Hey, Ellie.
Hello.
It's good to see you, friend. I feel like I just saw you. We'll talk about
You
that.
did for all weekend. Hey.
I know, right? I was there all weekend with Ellie in Tennessee. We had a little bit of a thrift vacation that we did. So
I overwhelmed Bob, you guys. I overwhelmed him with
I went into her treasure trove, and let me just tell you, she has unlimited potential. So we'll get to that in just a second.
Yeah.
But I just want to take a minute here to invite and welcome our guests for this podcast. We have Cougars Corner, Gary and Amy here, and wanted just to thank them and welcome them to the podcast. Hello, welcome.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Amy,
Yeah.
I have so many questions for you.
Oh boy.
I know specifically. Sorry, Gary.
Hey, I'll just go.
But we're gonna start the podcast with an icebreaker. Actually, so the icebreaker that we're gonna have today is: give me your best elevator pitch for Cougars Corner in less than a minute and 30 seconds. Go.
That's a elevator pitch.
Yeah. Why should we be watching? Why should we care? What's going on?
Oh, wow. Well, all right. That's a good one. Gosh, I'm trying to think. You want to do it? You want me to do it?
Definitely do. I
Okay.
think our 60 seconds is
Yeah.
over.
Did we get through
Did
that?
we fail already?
No.
No. Go.
Okay, so our store, you should follow our store because we've had 3.5 years of reselling experience, mainly on eBay. We have 13,000 items in our eBay store. We're projecting to do $500,000 in sales, mainly men's and women's used in pre-owned clothing. And we have a lot of repeat customers, so we feel like that's a good sign that we're at least doing something right. People are willing to come back and shop with us. So.
You pulled it off right at the end there, Jerry. I'm notorious for throwing like monkey wrenches into things, so I appreciate you
Don't worry.
being so kind. And you said a lot of things that make a lot of sense. And if you're not following Cougars Corner and their journey so far on social media, and we'll get to that in just a second after we talk about your story. Man, it's been incredible, the growth there as well as the growth in your business. But before we go there, let's talk about how you came to reselling and what that looked like in the early stages. Maybe even what you were doing before reselling. That might be helpful context.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Reselling, what we're doing now looks way different than what I had ever done in the past. I actually had started reselling back probably like 2007 or 2008, just in, just really limited. I went to a couple garage sales here and there and would just find random stuff and put it up on eBay and sell it. That was really before there was, sold comps and, I'm sure people did it full time even back then, but for me, it was just, I'd find a couple little things here and there and try to sell it, but I was working at the same time. So it wasn't anything too serious. It was just something to have a little bit of extra. And then kind of fast forward, I got more into it. I actually started fixing used iPhones. I had an old iPhone 4 that fell out of my pocket one time and I cracked the back of the screen. And I thought I was kind of ready to upgrade anyway. And I thought I'll just throw this phone on eBay and see what happens. And literally, I had no idea the market for old phones or anything like that. And this was probably, like I said, 2012, 2013, sometime around there. And literally, as soon as I took the pictures, I listed the phone, had a cracked screen. I priced it low because I thought this thing isn't even going to work. It's all messed up. It still came on or whatever. But literally, I submitted the listing, and by the time the page refreshed, it had already sold. Like it came up. I didn't even have a listing. I just had one sold item. And I'm like, what in the world? So that took me down this path of like trying to figure out, okay, what was it? And I determined that like an $8 piece, would replace the glass on the back of this phone. And so I started to kind of do some research, and I figured out how to fix phones that were cracked and broken. And I took on this like little side hustle of finding, old phones on Craigslist at that time there wasn't really a Facebook marketplace, or if there was, it was very limited. And I started fixing iPhones. And so I did that for probably 6 months or so until like the next generation of phones came out. And it just became too complicated for me to fix. So I got into some coins later after that. I got really into like collecting some coins and trying to sell coins. That was a really tough go because the margins on coins were very, very tight, very limited. And the market's really determined. Like it's hard to find a coin that's very valuable that that you can buy that somebody else doesn't already know what the value is. So, but I did that for a little while, and then really I didn't mess with reselling for a long time, and then probably 2001, 2021, sometime in there, like right after COVID, we started to go to some estate sales that were in our area. Like I think it was kind of during COVID time. Mm-hmm. We started to go to these estate sales, and at the same time we moved. We bought our house where we're at now, and we needed new stuff for our house, and like we'd go to these estate sales and we'd buy stuff that we thought was cool, and eventually our house started to get full, and we're like, what are we gonna do with this stuff? And we both kind of thought like maybe we should get a antique mall booth. We like to go into those, and we'd go and shop and see the different things that were in there, and thought we could probably sell some of this stuff. And so I think in 2021, like that summer, we rented our first booth at an antique mall, and man, we were like, every time something would sell, they had this online system that, the tags were like a scannable, like a UPC scan. And so it would come up on our little sales sheet and we could see exactly what sold. And like every time something would sell, we would run to the bedroom, grab the next item, and run, like it's a 20-minute drive to get out there. So we drove out there and we replaced it. I mean, we were just stocking that thing constantly. And so I think at that point we were like, that was really fun. So that took us to a lot of garage sales. We went to other flea markets to find stuff to put in this booth. And very quickly, it's like some other booths opened up. So we went from having one, I think we ended up with 9 at the most we ever had out here at this one mall. And
9 booths?
We opened up another booth, another mall. So we had like 2 different malls in our area with 9 or 10 booths at any given time.
Wow.
And
we struggle with moderation.
Yeah. Yeah.
All or nothing, right?
Yeah. Once it starts to work, we just go all in and just try to see how well we can do. Like we were, knocking it out of the park with the antique mall stuff, and we dabbled in everything. A lot of what we sold there is like little collectibles, little glass pieces, glasses. We even sold some furniture. We sold, all sorts of stuff that we thought we could flip. I mean, a lot of our prices were low, and I think for a lot of the antique mall buyers, if they can buy a $5 or $6 item, they will. If we price it at 100, they might just pass on it for a long time. But I think that a lot of times people love picking up, things that are $10 and under, and they get to go home with something new. And so we made a killing on stuff just $10 and under for a lot of our stuff at the booth, and we mixed in some higher price stuff here and there too. So it was really fun to do that. And eventually that kind of started to wane off because we had. I think then we started to talk to a few people about eBay, and we thought, there's stuff at our booth that would probably bring more on eBay. We should try to expand, our reselling and throw some of this stuff up on eBay. And we started that kind of at the end of 2023. And part of that was, introducing some clothes into eBay. We had introduced some into our antique mall booth. We put up a couple clothing racks, and surprisingly, clothing did pretty well. We sold like a lot of local, like sports teams and stuff like that we would sell out there, that we would find. But we started to incorporate some clothing out there and clothing in eBay, and that started to be the kind of the path of least resistance to our reselling. And we had a lot of hard goods when we first started eBay, and it quickly gave way to doing clothing. So that's the dissertation. That's the roadmap of how we got to the start of where we're at now.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ellie.
Yeah. So when you guys were doing these booths, were you guys still working elsewhere, or was that already? So we're still working and then running these booths?
Yeah.
Okay.
We would go out there sometimes on our lunch break, just whenever. And there was a auction house about an hour from our house that Friday nights there would always be auctions from 4 until 10, 11 at night. And we'd go down there and we'd just buy all kinds of stuff and then come home and wash it and tag it and everything. And it was.
Yeah, that's where we got a ton of our inventory is just auctions. And we go to estate sales a lot, and we started to become friends with a couple of the owners of one estate sale in particular in our town. And we started, they asked us to do, I think we ended up doing 4 or 5 cleanouts at the end of the sale. And so we did a couple, 3 or 4 estate sale cleanouts where it's basically just, it's yours, but you got to take it all. So I had a truck and a trailer, and we would just pile it all in, and it was just the both of us, and we bring it home and sort it out. Some of it was trash that we couldn't sell. Some of it, went to eBay. Some of it went into the booth. Some of it went to Facebook Marketplace, just try to monetize any of it that we could. And that was a lot of fun, but it was a ton of work. And I think that kind of ended. We got a call for like a 3-story house, and I think there was a piano in one of the rooms, and I was like, well, we cannot move this piano. Like, we could hire some movers and stuff,
but you never know if it's going to be there.
Yeah.
So do you hire somebody to come or not? And
the logistics weren't quite right. So we were definitely into it for like the small stuff, like the small 1 or 2 bedroom houses. But the piano kind of ended that whole deal. So
wow,
man, feels like an old I Love Lucy show or something.
Yeah, we were both working full time up to a certain point. And I didn't quit my full-time job until last year in February. And we were full on into close at that point. I think we were listing 40 a day and had around 8,000 items in inventory, 8 to 10,000 at that point when I finally quit. And that on-ramp or that off-ramp to my job, was about 6 to 8 months of us planning and looking at numbers and making the decision that, yes, the reselling and eBay is going to support us and more before quitting my job. So there was kind of that off ramp. But yeah, we were going, full time, for quite a while before we decided to make the jump to do this full time.
What were you doing, Gary?
So I was a regional director at a local nonprofit transportation company. Basically, we operated local transit buses in our area for folks with disabilities or elderly to go to medical appointments or adult daycare, stuff like that. So I had, probably 50 to 60 employees and 2 or 3 managers, and oversaw 15 counties in our area. So and it was a great job. It was the best job I'd ever had, and made really good money. It wasn't 6 figures, but it was, it was close. Probably within a few years, I was going to be pretty close to that. So it's really tough to walk away from something like that and go all in with reselling. And that's why, it was a really tough decision, but at the same time, it was something that we both felt strong about and felt like if I could devote the time that I was at work to reselling, take those 8 to 10 hours a day, Monday through Friday that I was at work, and we put that towards the reselling, how much more could we do? What kind of exponential growth could we have? And, it's scary to walk away from something that's, for sure that paycheck, hit every 2 weeks in the account, that money's there. But with reselling, we just was like, man, the sky's kind of the limit. There's no ceiling here. So
funny side note. So he's a big numbers guy, and we had it all figured out. We had several months of sustainable numbers. And so with his job, he was supposed to give a month notification before he was going to resign. And he had it planned out. And I don't remember if it was the day of or the day before, but we had the worst eBay day we've ever had in several months. I think we sold 7. And we were both he's like, I said, so are you going to quit today? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? Can you do this or not? So just how things happen, and so it was kind of an eye-opening experience because we had all these great numbers, and literally the day he's supposed to go in, there was 7, and we're we hadn't had a 7-day forever.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that was a test of willpower there to look that in the face and go, man, is something going wrong with eBay? Because I'm about to make a big decision here and give my notice, and I don't want to have to turn around on Monday and come ask for my job back. But
oh goodness,
it all worked out.
Yeah, that's scary for sure.
That is scary. We just recently had Sean Fines on, and he said that when he sat down with his wife to talk about pulling the pin and going full time, he was more so about whether or not he can get his actual salary out of the business for him initially, and also have a bit of a savings, a 3 month or whatever that looked like, just in case, something were to happen
Yeah.
and would have to go back later. So is that something you guys considered as well? It's like, do I need a salary out of this thing, or is it something like
Yeah.
what
Yeah, for
is that
sure.
the process that basically?
We didn't know that it would be something that we could do full time until probably a year before, because I track the numbers every month. For a couple of years I tracked every single sale we had on eBay. Like we tracked cost of goods for every single item. I tracked fees for everything that we sold. And, eventually the numbers bear out averages to where it's more predictable. Even if you sell $100 item versus a $10 item, everything starts to average out. But so I tracked that for a couple of years, and we were on this trajectory where the more items we'd list per day, the bigger our store would get, the more sales we could reasonably predict, and like our profit per month, had this trajectory or this path. And so about a year out, we started to look at that and say, if that continues, or if we continue to post this number of listings and we can find this number of things, I think the numbers bear out that I can replace my salary plus more. And then we can also have, a significant amount of savings. And that's on top of that was like if we were to have stayed the same number. And then if we could devote this time that I'm at work to the reselling business, can that grow even higher? Can we even kind of grow it exponentially? So yeah, we definitely tracked out, and now, we have really good, we have a salary we pay ourselves each week, enough to cover our bills and buy food and gas. Like we're, nothing extravagant, but it covers all that. And then everything else just goes back into the business, and we just save it to buy new inventory, stuff like that. But we're just, trying to stock money away. And, it's been really good. I'm definitely make more now than, I was making at my full-time job. Definitely work a lot more hours than what I was doing then, but that's just kind of the name of it, name of the game.
I don't get that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that it actually comes with work. It's no magic wand where you just wave it through and all of a sudden you're successful. It comes with a lot of work. And I think sometimes people look at it with, this is a sustainable method. I can do this. But I think what also drives folks, and this is what I think would drive me, is the flexibility of it, where I could work harder later if I needed to, if I needed to do something that's, I need to put my whole focus on. So the flexibility of it, I think, is what would be very attractive to me personally. So
yeah, that's one of the things that's just really hard to do if you've got, another full-time job, is that now the time that you're not working, you've really got to get your reselling stuff done in a specific time frame. Whereas, for us right now, we can, we went on a vacation back in January, went to Jamaica. We got a cruise planned for next January. So like we can still do all those things. But also if we wanted to take a trip to, next week, we could plan it out and just go do it. Like there's that flexibility exists. And then also kind of on a micro level, if we decide or if a sale comes up tomorrow and there's a good sourcing opportunity, we can rearrange our schedule and go do that if we need to. So it's that flexibility exists both on a bigger scale and, even on a micro daily scale.
I think if you bet it on yourself, which is what I really enjoy when I hear these stories every time, is when someone bets on themselves. You're only capped by your potential, or like what you're willing to give it. So if you're willing to give it everything you have, the growth and the potential in that is so tremendous. And I don't think people realize how powerful they are in their own power, right? And then on the faith and all the other stuff wrapped into that. But getting that, betting on yourself and hedging that bet and taking a chance, the risk and the reward for that, the reward is so great. And I wish most people, and I struggle with this too. I'm a software engineer. That's what I do for work, my 9 to 5. So sometimes I wonder if I were to put full time into this, what that would look like. But then I realized that my wife does most of the work. So I don't know.
I don't even think about it.
She's like, you better stay at that software engineer.
Yeah, right.
It is. It's a tough decision to make. But that comment you made where bet on yourself, that was something that I hadn't heard, and it was something that maybe I just heard, a while before, we decided to go full time. And I thought about that and I'm like, yeah, why not? Like I bet if we do go full time, we can be successful at it, because we kind of had proof of concept already, because we'd had the antique mall booths where we'd done really well. We'd already had the eBay business kind of up and going, where we had some traction with that. And I thought, yeah, no reason not to bet. And like, what if you don't take that chance, if you don't make that jump, and then 10, 15 years later, where you're not in a position to do that, and you kind of look back and say, what could have been had I, made that jump. So
let's do the wife's opinion on this, Amy. So at this time, right? So at this time, he's like, I'd really like to do this with you full time. First of all, working with your spouse is a challenge. Let me just tell you. I do this with my wife, and she would say that she's glad that I'm a software engineer and leaving the house.
It was a little struggle. We have assigned duties now and assigned places, so it works out well now. But yeah, the first week we did a trial week. He took a week vacation before he gave his notice, and I get maybe 2 massages a year, and I got some gift certificate for Christmas or whatever, and I was making for the end of the day, because after a massage, I'm not doing anything else the rest of the day. And so I came back, and he was so proud of himself, and he had this 200 clothing items that he'd taken pictures of. So when he does the pictures, I fold them and put them in the bags and whatever. And he was so excited for his treasures that he just
I'd never done that many in a day, to take pictures of that many. I'm like, look at what we're going to be able to do.
And I'm like, I'm not doing anything the rest of the day. So
I'm done.
Planner anyway. I'm very I was a police officer for 20 years. I'm very rigid. I like my structure. I like my.
This is what I wanted to ask you earlier.
About I'm very rigid in structure. Every night, and what he puts up with it, bless his heart. And every night before we go to bed, I'm like, so what's your plan today? And he's like, what's your plan? It even if we change, I can be flexible on that, but by heart, it
helps with process. I'm
going to be here at 10 o'clock. I'm going to be here. I'm very haven't got out of that mode yet. But
okay, so for those of us with ADHD who really struggle with structure, can you tell us what that looks like for you guys? What are your assignments? What's your processes? How many do you list in a day?
I feel like you should be at attention right now, Amy.
I mean, I would appreciate that. That would make me feel more comfortable.
Man. So yeah, we definitely have some duties that I'd like to think that we can handle whatever thing comes up in the business. Each one of us kind of has that knowledge that if one of us is out, or we're not feeling, maybe we're sick or whatever, either one of us can do, whatever needs to be done. But we definitely have some duties. And it was something that when we transitioned from part-time, or when I was still full-time at work, to transitioning to full-time in the reselling business, we had some growing pains, and we had some friction points that we had to get sorted out. And there's definitely the husband and wife, normal life area, and then there's the husband and wife work together at work area, and they're not the same. We had to learn how to work together. So
the best part is when I bring home something and he's like, that's never going to sell. And man, the second it sells, his phone is blowing up. And there's another hoop. Yeah.
I'll see this sold item come across the eBay. How you get a notification such and such sold, and I'll look at it and I go, oh God. And then instantly here comes the text message, and she's got some,
maybe 8. Again, anything worth doing is worth doing, right? So
hey.
But yeah, that's how it goes. But yeah, that's so awesome. We definitely have some job duties, I guess, if we had to write them down. So right now we list 60 items, new items per day.
60 a day. Wow.
Yeah. We, and that started, when we first started, it was 5 to 10. And then that just grew naturally over time. Yeah. It grows naturally over time. Just as we niche down, we don't do a ton of hard goods. We mainly just do clothes. And as we kind of narrowed that niche as to what we listed, we could get faster and more efficient with it as we built our systems and our process. We have a picture board, we have a shipping station, we have a very set way we do our inventory. And so that allows that efficiency to get faster and get more items up per day. But right now, I mean, it is, I think our biggest bottleneck is trying to find that many items to list per day. We're pretty picky on what we pick up in terms of the quality and things like that. So, but we do list 60 a day. We'll both go sourcing through the week. We usually take 1 to 2 trips out of town. We're kind of right between St. Louis and Kansas City. It's about 2-hour drive for us to go.
Good area.
Yeah. To go to either one of those, it's about 2 hours. And normally we go to St. Louis, and normally we'll hit Goodwills, some Salvation Armies. There's some other thrift stores that we'll hit down there. We'll go 1 or 2 times a week. And then we have a few thrift stores locally that Amy will usually go to throughout the week. And that gets us what we need in order to list. But normally during the day, I'll take pictures of the different clothes while Amy's out. She'll take the stuff that needs to be shipped. She'll take it to the post office and drop it off. Go sourcing at the different thrift stores. Like midday she'll get back and we'll have lunch together. And then like with today, I took some more pictures in the afternoon, or I might go in and do listings at the computer in our office while she'll wrap up all the clothes that I took pictures of, and then we'll work together to put them in our inventory system. And then the next morning I'll come out, I'll pull everything that sold the day before, and overnight I'll ship everything out, put the shipping labels on them, pack them up into some bags, and then she takes them. So that's kind of the main duty. So I do the listing and the shipping and some pictures. She does all the processing. So everything that comes in that we've bought, she'll wash, iron if it needs it, sew a button on if we miss that it doesn't have a button or something, and hang it all up, get it all set. We have a queue system basically on our wall that we have this wall where all of our clothes get hung up at, and we have different categories. So like men's polos all go together, men's button downs all go together, coats, women's activewear tops. Like we'll put all that stuff together so that when I'm doing pictures, I can just go and grab, I might grab 30 women's tank tops at once or 30 men's button downs at once and take pictures of all those. And so she sorts and organizes all that stuff so that when it comes time to do pictures, it's very simple and easy for me to do that part of it.
Love that. Do y'all cross-list at all?
We did just recently start cross-listing. We started using Nifty. I know. For a long time, it was like, well, I don't really need to. We sold so much on eBay. It was like, why even mess with it? But
well, it's funny you say that, Gary, because
I'm terrified that I'm not great with computers anyway, and the thought of having trust in something else to take your listings down so that we don't ruin a good thing with eBay if we sell something on Poshmark. And
Nifty's done us great.
Yeah, so it's funny you should say that, because Nifty is actually the sponsor of this video. Nifty.ai can triple your business because it tripled mine. I know for sure, for a fact. And again, I am a software engineer, so you can take my opinion for what it's worth. I have used them all, and I almost lost my eBay store with Vendu. No shade, but that's just what the reality of it is. A lot of people have that same experience. Don't be that person. Get Nifty.ai today. Code Rocket City will save you 15%.
Look at this.
Thank you for putting up with us.
We
got a comment.
She said she was looking at Nifty today and wondering about changing from Spadeberry. I haven't heard of Spadeberry.
Catherine, run, don't walk. Run, don't walk. You don't have to use my code. You can use Gary's code if you want. I don't even care, because you know why? Because I believe in the community that much, and I believe in the product that much, that it will definitely help your business. Yeah. So what's your code, Gary, for the people?
Oh gosh, you were going to put me on the spot.
I'm going to put you on the spot. You look that up, okay? We're gonna talk to Amy a little bit about something that I've been dying to ask her.
Oh, I can't wait.
All right,
oh boy,
here we go. All right, remember, Code Rocket City saves you 15%. All right, so Amy, you were a police officer, right? Mm-hmm. So you did that for how many years again?
20 years and a day.
20 years and a day.
Wow.
Well, thank you for your service. The thin blue line is the only thing separating us from chaos. Yeah. So I will say that, what do you think that you took away from that job that helps you in reselling? Because if I were to guess, what that does is you get to know people really well. You can kind of see who's like not on the up and up, maybe who's not. Does that help you at all in reselling, you think?
I would say probably yes, it does. More for like marketplace and stuff like that. I would say probably the biggest thing that I have taken away from police work to now is the structure. Again, like, reselling, whatever you put in, you're going to get back. And I can't imagine this chaos in our warehouse if we didn't have such a good system and maintained by it. You know, we every night before we go in, we make sure our spaces are clean so they're ready to work tomorrow, which sounds really dumb and really
It's not. It's so important.
or not, but it's just something that it makes us more efficient. And you know, time management, I'm very goes along with structure. Time management, you know, back in after I retired from police work, I had a job I got a corporate job, making a ton of money. My only job was really to carry a concealed weapon in case there was an active intruder. And sitting idle for 8-9 hours a day was absolutely something that I could not. It didn't work real well with my personality.
It's hard.
Yeah. Well, and they gave free snacks, so I sat around and ate all day because I was bored. And gained about 30 pounds.
No.
Yeah, it was terrible. But it, you know, you sit there when I was there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got 4 hours left, and you know, I'll look down or up at the clock, and it's 3 PM, and we're like, how in the world did I already get to 3 o'clock? And we're very protective of our time because time is money, and if we are trying to sell something on Marketplace and I'm sitting in a parking lot for 20 minutes waiting for somebody, like the olden days, I would sit there, forever because you need, and now I'm like, you're 5 minutes late, I'm out. Like it's, again, time is money. And so it's just kind of, I think
it really is.
Yeah. The time and the structure, I think, is probably the most thing that has transferred from, police work to reselling.
Plus, you must really be good at driving defensively, I would think, after being a police officer for so many years.
Yeah.
Am I speculating, or is it pretty accurate that you're pretty good behind the wheel?
I can drive fast.
That's sweet. Get to all those thrift hauls before everybody else does, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, hey, listen, man, I was on duty, I was job or whatever.
Yeah, I can scan the thrift stores now and identify my threats immediately.
Yeah, that's what it's. See, this is the content I was after.
Yeah,
Amy. Thank you so much for entertaining me.
He said I had to be on the best behavior, so.
Oh yeah. Well, don't worry about the behavior stuff because I can't be good, so I have to be good at it. That's the rule in all my videos. I don't know if you watched any of that.
Yeah.
So.
Love that.
But I appreciate that take on reselling, because I think everything that we do prior to anything that we do next definitely informs that. I would say that, right, Ellie? Like,
yes.
Don't you think that everything that we've experienced to this date, even talking to all of our guests that we've talked to this past 6 months, and you guys are we have a few more episodes for season 1. We're going to be starting season 2 soon. But we've talked to so many like-minded people that are chasing the same number you're chasing, people that have made $1 million last year. The whole gamut. People are just starting off. It always comes down to the same thing.
Yeah.
Having systems, having processes.
There's a theme for sure.
Yeah, people, tech, and process. Basically, if you can have those 3 things, and you are the people. So if you can put yourself in front of it and understand that early on, you're going to get so much out of this thing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see exactly how much Cougars Corner can do. I did have another question that's a follow-up. We don't oftentimes ask our guests this, and I'm wondering about the name, Cougars Corner. We never talk about the name of, do you notice that, Ellie?
Yeah, I guess.
Ask. I think we asked Knox next door.
I think the bearded thing is...
The bearded was obvious.
Yeah.
Cougars Corner. If you want to tell us about that genesis.
Yeah, let's get into it. It's not as great of a story probably as
that's
what
okay. It doesn't need to be.
But so okay, you know how I know it's terrible when we have to tell people, because we'll see people at a thrift store or a garage and they're like, oh, you guys are resellers. What's your store name? We're like Cougars Corner, and they look at us like,
post office guys. Like, first time we put some packages in, we're like,
what kind of store are you running here?
Only
okay, so you know how I heard this recently, but how like when you're 17 or 18 years old, like you make an email address, and then for some reason that just follows you around the rest of your life. For some reason, we're probably around the same age, Bob and Ellie. Like when the internet first started getting going, you'd make like this email address, and it's like,
oh yeah.
For some reason that just follows you around the whole time. Well, that's the same thing with like a username. So when I was in high school, I drove this Mercury Cougar car. That was the car I had when I was in high school. So, you know, as a 17-year-old, you're like, oh yeah, whatever my car was my little online email address or username or whatever. So when I made my eBay account, which I made it when I was like 17 or 18 years old, and it was Cougar, and it was 729, and that was my birthday. So that was my eBay username, and so that's just followed me around for 25 years.
Lucky for us.
Yeah, lucky. But so when we put the store together for the clothes reselling, I just wanted something kind of alliterative, and it played off of our my username on there, and so I just Corner sounded like it went with Cougar, so we went with Cougars Corner. And then I don't know, I made it not really thinking about the what else, the other meanings I guess it could have. So
I think it's great because it speaks to something that's endearing to you and what was important in your life when you were young, and that's okay. That's okay. But I will say that obviously it doesn't matter what your store name is technically. For branding purposes, I could see maybe a little bit, but for the most part, you guys seem to be doing really well, and we're going to talk about why that might be. You were doing well before social media, and how do you think social media has helped that? For those that don't know, if you're not following Cougars Corner on YouTube or Facebook, and we are broadcasting Spotify, by the way, so hello Spotify. For those that don't know, make sure you're following Cougars Corner on YouTube and also on Facebook as well. How does that work? Did you see a difference when you started social media?
We only really started social media probably in like December of last year, and we really hadn't said. It was really interesting because up until the point where when I quit my job, people asked like, well, why are you quitting? Because nobody really knew that we were reselling. I didn't really tell anybody that I worked with that, on the side, every weekend and every night that I go home, I'm taking pictures of clothes and then we're selling them on eBay. Like, it's just something
Same here. Nobody
I didn't tell anybody because it's weird. It's like, you do what? Yeah. Like, they're like, oh, what are you doing?
They're never going to understand us. They're never going to understand us. And that's okay.
They'd be like, what are you doing this weekend? It's like, well, I went to 7 Goodwills and bought clothes. Nobody would understand that. So I didn't say anything.
Orders.
Fashionista. Right, you say I'm a fashionista on the weekends.
Yeah. We built our shed in the backyard, and I'm talking to another guy at work, and he's like, oh, what are you going to put in there? And I'm like, I don't know. Stuff, I guess.
My dirty secret.
So, like, I don't even know where we're going with that. But anyway, I was like, we didn't really tell anybody we were resellers. So
yeah,
I still don't know. I lost my whole train of thought. What was
it? Okay, Gary.
For content. So you were saying you didn't tell anybody. So then you started in December.
So I started. So like all last year while we're doing, we're reselling it. I was pretty much full time the whole year, just trying to, see how much we could, how much gas we could pour on it and make it bigger. And while I was taking pictures, I'd listen to different podcasts or listen to different speakers. And I listened to a guy named Gary V.
Hell yeah. He's my mentor.
Yeah.
And, he talks about posting on social media and like, that's the way things are going. And I'm like, okay, well, so it was probably Thanksgiving, sometime around, Thanksgiving, first part of December. I made a Facebook page and I started posting pictures of like, hey, here's what we sold yesterday. And, oh, here's our photo setup. And, after, I don't know, a month or so, we started to get a few followers, and I put some reels out, and then I made a YouTube account and I posted the reels straight over from Facebook to YouTube. So we started getting a few followers or subscribers on YouTube. And that took, I don't know, a couple months. And then like mid-February, we put out some reels, and our account just started going crazy. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty exciting.
One of the videos got, I think 6,700 views, which is pretty good for a new account. And from that, I was tracking you guys. I am a data scientist, remember, and data analyst. So I was looking at the numbers and trying to see exactly what the moment was. It was that video.
Which one was it?
The one you got 6,700. The one where you were explaining how you batch post.
Yeah.
Clothing.
Yeah.
The video.
Yeah, I did that video just kind of on a whim because I use ChatGPT some to try to help come up with some ideas for videos, because I'll sometimes just think up of an idea and I'll go, okay, that might make a good video. And so I'll try to make a note or whatever. And, one thing working with Chat GPT, I always want to make sure our reselling comes first. Like I never wanted to sacrifice getting our listings up or miss out on shipping something because I was making a reel or I was making a video. Like eBay pays the bills. Facebook, YouTube is kind of fun stuff on the side to build up for the future. So there's like, I've got tons of ideas, and that was one of them that I'd actually got a chance to make a video and put together, and it did okay. So, I don't know how it's affecting us in terms of reselling. I don't know that if it's, increased sales or anything like that. Maybe some people have checked out our store, because they've seen us online. And if they do, that's great. I hope they buy from us and have a good experience and come back to us. But, I just think it's fun to get on there and show, kind of what our systems are. I've had an opportunity, with our following to do some one-on-one like store reviews with folks, just, kind of individual. And it's been helpful to me to see some of the other approaches that other people have taken with their stores. And then on the flip side, being able to share some of the things that we do with them. And then they've come back to me and said, hey, I implemented this strategy, or I tried, this tip that you said, and it's helped our sales. So that's helpful. And I like hearing that, especially if, spending some time with other folks, talking to them on how they do their things.
Yeah, social media for us has been one of those as well. Like I had mentioned earlier, community in practice is what I'm about. And I think you guys are too, because I see the education and the value that you're putting out in your content. So the fact that you're still running your business according to what you need it to be, and also taking the time to pay it forward to others is huge. And it says a lot about your character as a business, and will definitely pay dividends in the end, I think, because you're building that network and that community with like-minded people. And sometimes you never know, you can make a connection to potentially get sourcing. A lot of folks try reselling and maybe don't think it's for them.
Yeah.
And you can potentially work out deals in that way too. So there's other avenues. And we recently had Cam Life on the podcast. Ellie, remember? Cam was saying, he was thinking about doing wholesale and doing all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever thought about that? Like going straight direct to wholesale and selling through eBay?
Yeah. Just briefly, it's just been, I think part of what we've done is tried to kind of figure out this recipe for success and then just go all in on that. And we tried, less, like Facebook Marketplace a few times here and there. That the antique mall booth was one time, but like I really feel like we've kind of narrowed down what we want to do, and we're just going to try to push as hard into that as we can, as long as it's going to feed us back the results that we're looking for. Now, if that changes, like if all of a sudden eBay falls off and the stuff that we have doesn't sell anymore, then we're definitely going to start looking for other avenues. And I think it is important also to kind of keep our eye out for other opportunities and see what other people are doing. And that's what, I really like about social media, because I can follow so many other people that are in, adjacent areas to what we do. Our volume model is definitely not something that, a lot of people want to try to take on. And I completely understand that, because the amount of time that we spend, our average sale price is not nearly as high as what, a lot of folks, might be looking for. So there's some things, our reselling, what we do is definitely not for everybody. And I try to make that clear, like when we make posts, is that this is how ours works. But also I'm looking at other people and what they're doing and say, okay, if our avenue starts to dry up or doesn't work out like it has been, where can we pivot and what can we do next, and what's been working for for other folks. And the only reason we're doing the volume model we're doing is because we figured out kind of what worked, and then we just poured gas on it and went all in on it. But we didn't invent anything.
That's how we did it too. We did the same thing, but with plush. So
like you figure out what works and then just do more of that.
So have you thought about scaling by getting employees or possibly doing live selling? Have you guys ventured into those?
That's a great question.
Yeah, for sure. We've talked about employees quite a bit. We've tried to figure out kind of where would they fit into our business. I think we're kind of at a point where it's like, I'm pretty protective, I guess. I'm pretty control. I'm not a control
It's
freak,
hard to
but
find good help.
I like to have control over all the aspects of our business.
Yeah.
And I think bringing an employee on, you have to allow some of that control to go away, or you have to have some of that trust and build trust with an employee. And that's just not something that we've approached yet. It's definitely something we've talked a lot about. Where would an employee fit in? What would we have them do? What's the right setup? Our warehouse, like everything is contained in our warehouse where we're at in our backyard. So like all of our inventory, shipping, pictures, everything here. So, do we have them come here? Do we have a separate location? Do we open up like a storage unit where we could have pictures be taken? Do we, so like all those logistics are things that we've talked about. And then, after we talk about them for 10 minutes, I got to get back to taking pictures and doing the work. It's not like
the reality sets in. Like, I don't got time for these existential thoughts.
I know. I really should think about that more, but and there may come a time where we are able to do that. I do think that with AI and some of the things that have advanced with AI, the need or the ability to do more just by ourselves is going to increase. Like even picture taking. All of a sudden eBay now can take your photos and put them on a mannequin. Like some of those listings are automatically coming up with an AI generated person with your stuff. So the days of having to take multiple pictures with measurements, probably in the next, year or so, I'm venturing that even pictures are going to be, something that doesn't take nearly as long. The listing process for us, doesn't take nearly as long. I can hammer out 60 clothing listings in 60 to 90 minutes because the AI on eBay has gotten good enough to recognize your pictures and your title, fill in all the item specifics that it needs and plus more. And, it just doesn't take as long as what it used to even a couple years ago. And if that trend continues, it's going to just get better and better and faster.
It will. It's already started. Agentic AI, again, software engineer. Sorry about that. This is not the most exciting topic in the world, but agentic AI will actually do it. It does create a task force basically that works on your behalf. You're already seeing with Nifty the ability for generative AI when you're lists and things of that nature. But agentic AI is basically, it'll mimic what you do or tell it to do. It'll create an entire employee workforce for you and do those things for you. So my next iteration for something like Nifty, if they were already thinking about this forward, they would be creating those agents to go out and be able to list for you. So it then becomes a matter of just sourcing, right? Sourcing product and getting that to those the photos and things of that nature. So even the act of photography, what does that look like in the future? Right. So it's interesting to think about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even a year ago, the AI, like Nifty AI or Spadeberry, Better Lister, like that stuff was not really even available or had just started to become available. And now a year later, you give it the pictures and it spits out the title, the description. It can give you pricing recommendations, post to 4 or 5 different platforms. Like it's so much more advanced in just a 12-month period. And that's just going to continue to get faster and more involved.
Yeah. You're going to actually, they already started with on nifty.ai. There's an agent inside there called Auto. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I think
basically it's going to be able to bulk adjust pricing and do some other things. So that way you don't have to go in and do that manually or through your main platform. Mm-hmm. So you're going to be able to have a little bit more autonomy or more control over that in a bulk rate. Obviously, if you reach your credit limit, I think is how they're framing it. You get so many smart credits a month, but once you're past that, you either have to buy into more credits or wait for your month to reset. Yeah. So it's kind of like the old days when you were texting and for free and making phone or paying for text and paying for phone calls. But now for those who don't remember that, it's the dark days.
No, I get it.
Call me after 9, right? Call me after 9. Okay, that's when I get my free.
Yeah, exactly. Call me back later when it's free.
Yep.
Yeah. So right now the data is where they're getting you, and the generative AI is where they're getting you. So now it's just a matter of those. So Auto is going to get more powerful they're right now it's in beta. For those that didn't know, nifty.ai, Auto is the feature, and it'll be coming out of beta. They'll be adding more features. So it's basically your agent to run your business. So it's like having a part-time or full-time employee that's working on your behalf all the time. someone that's automatically sharing your closet on a 24/7 basis. So I don't know how your guys' Poshmark account's doing, but ours is like quadrupled since
Wow.
using it. So
Yeah,
let's talk about it.
we were actually just looking at some of our Poshmark sales over the last, before we got on the call, and I think we were both kind of surprised about the number of things. I've only really been, I try to cross list like 50 items per day. I haven't cross listed everything from our eBay store over to Poshmark yet, and so I've just been trying to gradually get stuff put over there. But we're getting 2 or 3, 1 to 2, and then sometimes up to 3 to 4 sales a day over there. So that's helpful because we're averaging on eBay about, I think so far this month we're at 45 to 47 items a day. And so if you add 2 or 3 over on Poshmark, that gets us close to that 50 mark.
Right.
And so, that's great numbers for us. Yep. That's the best we've had in the years that we've been doing it. So we're pretty happy with that. And it helps, because if eBay's down to, 40 a day, then Poshmark, makes up, 4 or 5 extras that maybe we didn't get on eBay that day. So
I need you to,
well worth it.
Gary and Amy, I need you to test something for me. So, sorry, Nifty, about this one. I'm always very transparent with things because whenever I promote something, I like to dig into the weeds. But I heard recently that I don't get into item specifics personally. I list everything through Nifty. I don't do eBay first. Everything goes through Nifty. But I've heard that item specifics from eBay, once they're in Nifty and Nifty relists it for you, basically a delist and relist, you lose the item specifics. So I need you guys to test for me.
All right.
If you haven't considered that, just be on the lookout when you see that Nifty has relisted something from eBay. After I think it's 30 or 60, you could set it to whatever,
something like that.
Yeah. So just I want you to reach out to me, and we'll get it to the people whether or not that's true or not. I saw that today when I was looking through some of the features and some of the comments on another post on social media. So if that's what's truly happening, that's important to understand that.
Yeah, you definitely want as many, as you can get in there without sacrificing the speed and efficiency of getting the listing put together.
Now, if you're making, 50% more sales because of Nifty, is item specifics as much important as it is to just the SEO of the title,
right?
And the photo.
It's such a balancing act sometimes between perfection versus progress, and just how much can we?
That's what we're saying.
It is.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry to steal that. Sorry.
Yeah, progress over perfection.
I mean, you can write the perfect listing, and if it takes you 3 hours and you can get all the money for it, that's great. But then, for somebody that might be able to take that same amount of time and get 3 times that many listings up or 10 times that many, they might be able to make the same. So it's just however you want to do it.
Yeah.
I know that there are folks out there that are very specific about their eBay stores, and they're meticulous, and their stores are absolutely, chef's kiss, really, honestly. And kudos to you if you're that person in putting the time into your eBay store. Have pride in what you're doing. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but that's just, for me, it's a volume thing. And I think we're at the same pace, Gary, you and I. We're at the volume. We have 8,000. I think we're actually at 8,200 listings currently. Our goal is to reach 10,000, but we're at capacity, and we're looking to build a building in our properties. So I'll be reaching out to you. I'll be reaching out to you in regards to that.
Yeah, that's a fun process.
You guys did it. Let's talk about it, right?
Okay. Yeah. Wow, that was a fun process. I mean,
he designed it we did not use AI for it at all. This is several years ago, and he designed it, and it literally looks exactly like his drawing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just weird.
It's got to be fun to see that come to life.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's like a rectangle, right? So it's not like it wasn't a very extravagant design.
It has a hangover.
I appreciate the credit. I think we compromised pretty good on.
He wanted windows everywhere, and I said no because then people can break in.
I wanted a couple windows.
I mean, take the advice of a police officer of 20 years in a day.
I mean, it could have been an underground bunker, but we at least got settled on a couple windows. So
I'm surprisingly okay with that. So what did that look like? What did they? If you don't mind sharing the cost of something like that, with square footage, whatever.
So, just to kind of give some background, we moved into our house during COVID, like November of 2020, and we live outside of town. We're about 10 miles outside of our local town. So we're on like 3 acres here, but it's mainly wooded and kind of hilly. So there wasn't a lot of extra space to build, but in our backyard, which there was probably 15 old trees that were kind of dead and just needed to be cleared out anyway. So in that spot we took some trees out, and so we kind of had this patch of ground that we thought that could fit a pretty decent sized building. And even at that time we really hadn't even started the antique mall booth.
This was supposed to be for a immaculate gym in our RV.
Yeah,
that's what I was told.
We at that time,
the truth comes out.
Yeah, that's true. At that time, we were going to build a gym and we were going to build a place to put an RV. And so, so what happened was, like COVID happened. We're in the middle of COVID, and at that time, like buying an RV and traveling around the country was like the cool thing, because you couldn't fly anywhere on vacation. Like you couldn't go to Europe or whatever. And so it's like the next best thing was we'll go to all the national parks. So we ended up buying, we took down the trees the spring of 21, but at that time, like nobody was doing any construction work. You couldn't buy construction materials. Prices for everything
was terrible.
Had gone crazy expensive. So we just kind of set everything on the back burner. We did end up getting an RV, and we traveled for probably, I don't know, 8 or 9 months. We bought this like Class C RV motorhome, which is, I don't know if you know, Class C is like the smaller, like box on wheels. It looks like a box truck. It's not the great big tour bus, but it's like the box truck. So we bought that, and we had it for less than a year. We flipped it. Not like we didn't flip it. We sold it. We
figured out we could make $17,000 off what we paid because of the timing.
Heck yeah.
The timing was like, so at that time, you remember, I don't know if you remember, but like no new vehicles were being produced because you couldn't get materials. So like the value of new, pretty new items, new vehicles had like skyrocketed. And so the value on this RV that we had for like 9 months and was going to travel with increased in value, which is unheard of for a motorhome.
Right.
So we were like,
motor. Yeah.
I looked at the prices. I'm like, this thing's worth $20,000 more than what we bought it for. Like, we should consider selling it. And so we sold it, and we took some of that money that, then we were able to help build the shed. But so anyway, one of our first flips before we actually got into reselling full time was we resold an RV. So that's kind of a fun sidebar, but
the writing was on the wall.
Yeah,
or on the RV anyway.
But we'd always had plans, like we still have plans today to do that again, because that was really fun. We took some RV trips down to Texas and Arizona and stuff like that. So that was a really fun
Thrift across America. I'm in. Let's get the content rolling.
Yeah.
I think when we finally retire and we sell all this stuff off, we may just travel around for a year or two and then retire to Florida or something. I don't know what will happen, but an RV is definitely in the future. But the shed, originally was going to be for RV and a gym. And then as we kind of came out of COVID, like a couple years later, after we had cleared those trees in the backyard, we started to get serious on eBay. And I think we had a conversation one night, like, if we're going to build this shed, like, let's get serious and start talking to a couple builders. And we got connected with a local like Amish community, and they owned a lumber yard in the area, and so they had some. We went and talked to them, gave them the design and the layout, and they gave us a price. And so we started working with them in the spring of 2023. And so they came out and leveled out all the land, and then they poured, the footers and the slab, and then they, like, by then, like, the walls were going up. So it's just a metal shed with, like, wooden walls and metal roof and all that. But then once that got done, we had HVAC put in. So we have a mini split for heating and air, so we can work out here year round, whether it's 100 degrees outside or 0 degrees. So that was really important. We got insulation and electricity. We got that put in there. The one thing we did not do that I probably would have done different is put like plumbing in so that we could have like a little bathroom. But we're about 20 feet away from the back door of our house. So the front door of the shed faces the back door of the house. So there's a little sidewalk, and we're about 20 feet away. So we just go inside to grab something to eat or use the bathroom or whatever. And then we have a little porch overhang area where we can go and sit outside at the shed and just hang out there if we want to, like eat outside or have a picnic or whatever. But so that process got done in the summer of 2023, and the timing worked out really good because our eBay store, we had grown. We were probably close to 1,000 listings at that time. And so it started to overtake the house. I mean, we had bookshelves everywhere. We had stuff in the hallway. We had stuff in the bedroom. Once we got the shed done, and we moved in the summer of 23, and we've been here, it'll be almost 3 years this summer. And so, yeah, that's kind of the shed. So like we paid for everything in the shed. We saved up kind of as we went. And I think it cost us like 70,000 or so all in to get the shed built. So I don't know, with stuff now, it might be a little bit more. Ours is 40 foot our slab is 40 foot by 40 foot, but the inside portion is 40 by 30. So it's 1,200 square foot. And then we have a lot, like we didn't build a loft, but we left the ceiling open so we can put some like plywood or like particle board up there to have extra storage up in the rafters.
And we did like the interior walls, we did ourselves. And then the flooring we did ourselves to save a little money.
Yeah. We learned how to put it. Like I'd never really been in construction or anything, but I thought I could at least nail and screw some particle board to the walls. And then
I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy.
And
Good
that
for
was
you, Gary.
That was July.
That was in July. It was hot outside, but it was cool in here. We had the AC working, and we put up all the walls. Like I had the saw out, and I put a little video up on Facebook of like us going through all of the construction parts and the process. But that was fun. We put up the walls. We did like the flooring. We painted the floor.
We did epoxy and thought that we would do a good job at it. Probably should have paid somebody
to. Probably should have paid somebody to do that part, but hey,
Every time I go to a garage sale and they have a nice epoxy floor, I'm always like, man, that's what it could have looked like.
Nice. Epoxy envy.
Yeah, for sure. He gets mad at me too because I stand there and talk to him, and he's like, "Come on, it's time to go."
Gotta go. But yeah, like we built a shipping station, we built a picture station. And part of designing the building, the way we wanted, we were able to lay out and diagram exactly where we wanted all of our shelves for our inventory, where we wanted our shipping and picture station, where our processing was going to be. Like we've got a garage door. We don't use it a lot, but we've got a garage door that we could back up and put the RV in. So like we did design it so that when we sell our place and move out, like it's a very usable shop, or for whatever the next person that lives here would want it for. So they could definitely pull in an RV.
That's important. Yeah.
They could have, they could put a lift in here and put a car up on it, or whatever, extra storage. So it's really just an addition for the whole property, but it really works out well for us for our reselling purposes. So
what an amazing
story. You go through that process. It was a little stressful because there was we didn't really run into any issues like leveling out the ground there. They had to bring in more fill than what we expected, so there was a little bit of cost overrun in that regard, but everything else turned out really well. And I wish we had more space, because I would definitely build another building, because we feel like we might fill this place up at some point, and then we were going to wish we had more space, but I don't know, maybe we can figure that out later. But
wow, that's incredible that you're thinking about filling it. That's the trajectory of your business is quite incredible. It's like, I got a question about the design. Is it holding up today as it held up 3 years ago in your mind, like in practice when you're using it? Does it hold? Does it meet the muster for that?
Yeah, I think so. We really tried to diagram out, like even down to the size of the shelves that we bought. Back to back, the size of the boxes we put on them, what's the average number of items we can fit in each box, where, how much space in the aisle do we need to maximize? Like I'm pretty
by the inch.
I mean, yeah, like when we built, when we built the shelf, like, and they're all modular shelves. Like you can pick, you can take them apart and move them, but obviously, like once you get them built and set up, you want them to stay there. But I measured them out to where, they're exactly where I had diagrammed them out. We have just enough space to lay them out essentially and maximize all the, floor space is a premium. So we want to maximize that and then go up. So like everything on the wall, the wall space is a premium. So we use that for extra storage. Like, storage boxes. I've got shelves on the walls to hold extra storage boxes. I've got racks on the wall to hold extra clothes for our queue that's going to get pictured. So like everything has a purpose in the shed, designed to maximize, what we're able to do at some point. I feel like we're probably going to max out the shed with an inventory around 22 to 25,000 items. That's clothes, shoes, hats.
So tomorrow?
Maybe bigger sourcing.
Yeah.
Good sourcing, Amy. She's like, I gotta go shopping again.
Yes.
Do you get tired of shopping?
We don't even actually like to shop prior to this.
Perfect. That's a perfect business model right there. I hate this. I just want to not
go all in.
You can get some people feel a certain type of way about their inventory and they can't let it go, right? So let's talk about it, right? So you guys sound like maybe that clothing, you're not too much like emotionally involved with it. It's a means to an end. It's a really great niche because there's so much clothing in this country that goes to landfills and gets shipped overseas and all kinds of stuff. So that's
like
crazy.
Clothing would not have been my first pick to sell stuff. I'm not excited about clothes. I'm more excited about it now because I know what is valuable or what sells well.
We're excited.
I'm surprised I even had some on. So I'm just kidding. I'm not excited either.
Yeah, it doesn't excite me to it's exciting to find cool stuff at the thrift store. I get excited about that. It's not so exciting to go grab our 30 bread and butter items at a thrift store and walk out. That's just kind of that's work. But also sometimes I think we have to stop and think hey, we're shopping for our job. This is our job, is to go around and buy stuff at a thrift store. Whereas most people have to do that on the weekends or they look forward to that. It's pretty fun to be able to do that instead of going to the office or hang out all day at the the job site or whatever. So that part's in perspective, it's fun. Clothing would not have been my first pick, and it wasn't. I mean, we sold a lot of different collectibles, glassware,
learned everything about Pyrex and what year it was made and the different designs.
We'd sell some crazy Pyrex collections at times. Give us a primary color Pyrex bowl set, and we're first in line at the estate sale if something like that. But turning around and shipping that on eBay just in a volume setting was not something that seemed very lucrative or very easy. And I think clothing is just a very frictionless type reselling where it's there's returns, there's headaches that come along with any type of reselling. But for clothing, it's you take pictures of it, you get the tag, the measurements, front, back, you put it in the bag, you ship it to the customer. You don't hear anything from them. You're done, you can move on to the next one. And you can do, if you've got a system set up to do 10 a day, you can do 50 a day. It just takes a few minutes longer. So it was one of those things that's you can scale it, you can make decent money at it, and it's plentiful. You can walk into any thrift store and they're going to have a pretty, it's probably going to be their biggest selection of whatever items they offer is clothing. So, I mean, it's out there. It's not all worth reselling, but if you look hard enough and you look long enough, you're going to find enough pieces to resell. And that's been our experience.
Ellie and I shop a lot at the Goodwill outlet bins. Ellie, would you say that clothing dominates over there? I would say so, right?
Our Goodwill bins has a lot of hard goods, so I think that we attract a lot of hard goods sellers. But yeah, when people run to those clothes bins, I'm just looking at them
hard goods sellers and clothing
really
sellers are
over
different.
there fighting for clothes, and I'm no thank you, no thank you. And it's
Do you guys use that business model at all? The Goodwill outlet bin?
We have in the past.
We started off using it.
Yeah, we definitely, the cost of goods was just so good when it comes to the Goodwill bins. You can't beat 75 cents for a shirt if you can find a good one, a couple bucks for a pair of good jeans at the Goodwill bins. That's great. But I think what we eventually determined was that the amount of time it took to find the number of items that kind of met our metric or our quality standards, it took a long time at the bins to come up with that amount of items. And versus if we go into the stores and we just look through the racks, we're able to come up, we're going to pay more, but we're able to find a lot more that, we're able to kind of control that quality. We can find the stuff that we want to be able to resell. We're paying up for the stuff in some instances, but our average sale price is going to go up with some of those items. Not to say that you can't find some great stuff at the bins, and we found some very nice. We found stuff that sells for $100 in the bins, but the frequency of that just wasn't enough to sustain us to where we could, we just can't find 50 to 60 items a day from the bins to list that meet this metric of average sale price that we're looking for.
And for ours, our closest bin is 2 hours away, and it's not the rotating system. They're open from 10 until I think 1, and then they hurry back.
St. Louis.
Yeah, in St. Louis. And in order to be there for the good stuff, we have to get in line at 9. And so for us, that takes away. If we drive to St. Louis, we're waiting for the first one to open at 9 o'clock. So that extra hour that we have, we come back with more items, and
there's some wasted time,
Yeah.
I guess, standing in line waiting for the bins to open. Whereas if you're at an outlet where they do the rotations, like maybe you're not, standing there for as long waiting for the rotation, but like they literally do, they kick everybody out, and then you got to go stand in line again, and then it's a mad rush. And so
I think if we lived closer, we would definitely utilize them more. It's just on our trips to St. Louis, we're hoping to come back with 150 to 200 items, or it's not worth the time and effort to drive down there. So
for sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Man, and digging in those bins is tiring. I don't know about you guys.
It is. Like
digging through hard goods is not half as hard as digging through clothes at the bin.
Digging through clothes, like an hour into it, I'm toast. Like I'm ready to go to lunch. My back hurts.
The shoulder.
Yeah.
That's it for me. The shoulder is
Arms
lifting shoulder.
That clothes up out of there. Yes, it's all done. I like that for plush and toys.
Talking to people who spend 3 or 4 hours at the bins, I'm like, wow, that's a full day. I'd be exhausted spending that much time.
We spent plenty of hours.
That much time, but it's just not as tiring with clothes. I mean, with hard
clothes is definitely because you've really like everything's twisted together with clothes,
wrapped up in a sheet.
Wrapped up in a bed sheet or curtains or whatever.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I've tried, but
so. Gary and Amy, this is the time of the podcast where we ask our esteemed guests who would like to see on Launchpad Reseller Podcast. So I'm going to do this official. Gary and Amy, Cougars Corner, who would you like to see on Launchpad Reseller Podcast?
Do you have anybody?
Homeschooling picker.
Oh, she said homeschooling picker. You know the
homeschooling picker?
I do. I love her.
Yeah.
I love her. Yeah. I follow her.
I
follow her on Facebook. I follow her on YouTube.
Yes, I have 4 kids.
They do a good job. I like watching their videos.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Canary Closet, she does a good job too. I don't know if you follow Canary Closet.
There's 2.
Yes.
So Canary
I haven't talked to either one of them. So
and I think she's kind of funny. Like she gives me some sort of sense of humor on her.
She's good.
So
she would be
number 1 pick was homeschooling picker.
Let's do number 1 is his.
Oh, she likes
Canary's Closet.
Yeah.
She's
number 1.
All right.
They're both great
for
reselling, and their content is awesome.
Yeah.
And I follow both of them actually as well. So I'm looking forward to talking to them. Hopefully they accept the offer.
Yeah.
We're looking at you.
Yeah.
To be on Launchpad Reseller Podcast.
Good.
So that's interesting pick. Can you tell me a little bit why those 2 choices a little bit more? So let's talk about it a little bit more.
For Canary Closet, I think she provides educational content. A lot of times people get on social media and it's like a story
what I did.
about, yes, or not even really about reselling. It's about their personal life, which is fine. But if it's a reselling content, have a little bit of reselling stuff. And I think she has a sense of humor. Like I feel like she and I would be friends if we live close together. I can appreciate her sense of humor, and she's got.
I like her because she's she brings a good knowledge to what she's picking up. She explains why. She shows that she's out there. She's on Whatnot too. I think she's doing a really nice job on Whatnot, finding stuff and getting stuff sold on there. So I think I think she would bring a lot of value to the folks that are watching the podcast and seeing what she's up to. So, and then for homeschool and pickers, like her content, like when we would go to estate sales or garage sales, like seeing what she picks up and just seeing, they do explain a little bit about, why they're looking at whatever they're looking at and picking up. So I like just seeing that. And, I don't know if you've watched her YouTube videos, but she does.
I
I mean, it's just a lot of times it's just almost kind of unfiltered, just walking through sales and just picking stuff up and explaining what's going on. So I like that style a little bit of just, kind of that unfiltered. We're going to try to maybe do a little bit of that with some of our garage sales and thrift store finds, just see how that goes for us.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of leads to my next question, which is, what's next for Cougars Corner?
Yeah.
I think that are just going to continue to put out our listings every day. There might be a time where we, traditionally like late spring and early summer have ticked up for us over the last couple of years. Like we start to see our best sales at that time of year. So we've kind of talked about, can we focus and get like 65 or 70 listings up? I mean, we're running pretty heavy right now. You're getting 60, but like if we put them out and they sell, then let's see if we can get a few more out. So we might be able to kick them up to 65 or 70 listings a day, early summer, and see how that goes. I think for like YouTube and Facebook, we're going to try to keep putting out content that people, have at least come back and said they like. I think looking at our different systems, like, if I put a picture of our picture board or our shipping station, it tends to get some good responses. So stuff like that. Some of our videos about where we've gone and thrifted or going to a garage sale or something, I think tends to do well. So we've got a lot of garage sales that we've been to the last couple weekends. And so we've got some footage of that I'm hoping to be able to put out soon. And some thrift store visits and finds, I think we're going to be able to put some of that out. And then each week we're trying to just do a what sold video and just kind of continue that process and just see where it goes and where it takes us, because it seems like that's been working well for us. And it's not too hard for me to just turn the camera on and talk about what we sold for the week and then throw the video out there. So that's been pretty good.
So informative too. And people are really caring about what's selling now.
Yeah.
Not so much maybe like, this is kind of what I found. They want to know more so what's actually trending, what's selling, what to be on the lookout for when they're out and about. I think that's maybe a hybrid video in that case. Would like, so that's why I enjoy your content and why I consume it. So just some feedback from another reseller to a reseller.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
We learned a ton. We learned a ton from watching videos like that, like Homeschool and Picker. We watched Harry Tornado and we watched
Josh
Daily Refinement and Tekken Sports, and
Tekken's a master at it.
Big names, yeah.
Flippy McFlipperson was a good one for a long time that we watched, and like Taylor Exchange was another one. Like all the clothing sellers, we took bits and pieces from all those resellers to build what we got. I mean, like I said earlier, nothing that we do is unique. It's not we didn't invent anything. We just took pieces of other resellers and applied it to our situation, and tried to figure out the best way for us to do it. And so if we put some stuff out there and help somebody else, then that's just kind of that cycle of giving back.
And what makes you different? Your work ethic. That's what makes you different. So I'm just going to put it out there. If you want success like Cougars Corner, you got to put in the work for it. There is no magic wand. Nobody's coming to save you. This is not a Disney movie. This is not a Disney movie. No one's coming to save you. That's the damn truth.
It's true.
Sorry that Uncle Bob from Rocket City had to tell you, but here we are.
Nobody's knocked on our door and asked for any of the items that we haven't listed yet. So
exactly,
all the stuff that's waiting to be listed, that stuff's never going to sell unless we.
Wait, what's your address again? I'm scared.
Yeah,
it'd be great if we had a line of people. That'd be awesome. But if you don't list it, it doesn't get sold, and nobody's coming to list it for you. So
yeah, absolutely. No one's come to save you. No one's come to list it. So the fact that you guys are just churning and burning and doing all the things and realizing that the time that you take when you're not reselling too is just as important and to prevent burnout. It was really refreshing to hear about. I'm gonna give Ellie maybe some final words before we wrap this up. Ellie, any final questions or comments for Cougars Corner?
My comments are that what Bob just said applies directly to me. Like I feel personally targeted, right?
Sorry about that, Ellie.
I try to give myself grace because I'm trying to raise 4 kids, and I'm a stay-at-home mom and I'm a homeschooler. But interviewing people like you and all of the people that we've interviewed on this podcast really has opened up my mind to the possibility of what can be to come, what can be possible. So I really appreciate that. And I hope that for anybody listening, that is the same, and that it's inspirational, and that it's really showing and telling that the work that you put into it is what you're going to get back. And that's what I keep getting over and over on these episodes. I also want to remind everybody to subscribe and hit that like button if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. If you've reached it to the end. Yeah.
See, I always forget. Please,
There you go.
7,000 people watch this every episode. 7,000 people watch this podcast, and we only have 600. And I think we just broke 615 subs. So make sure that you're watching this. It can definitely scale your business. Watching this and talking about reselling and just listening. And if you're an absolute listener and you like to take this on the go, maybe you don't have the watch hours, you can always catch us on Spotify, on Launchpad Reseller Podcast on Spotify. And we're growing over there too. So really excited about that particular avenue as well, bringing out the education to the masses who don't have the time. You can put this in your headset and, work while you're listening. Take Gary and Amy's advice on the road with you, because it's excellent advice. So I just want to remind you guys, if you can't be good at it. And we're going to catch you on the next episode. Gary and Amy, stick around. I got one more question for you all.
All right.
Camera. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.